In the quiet town of Willow Creek, nestled in the rolling hills of Virginia, lived a young woman named Emily Carter. She was 28, with soft brown hair that fell in gentle waves to her shoulders, and eyes the color of a calm autumn sky. Emily had always spoken in a whisper, her voice like a light breeze through the leaves. It wasn't something she chose, it was just how she was made. From childhood, people had teased her about it. "Speak up, girl," they'd say with laughs that stung like bee stings. But Emily learned to live with it, finding peace in the silence around her. The year was 1943, and the world was at war. Willow Creek felt far from the battles in Europe and the Pacific, but the war touched everyone. Emily worked at the local airfield, a bustling place where planes roared like thunder and men in uniforms hurried about. She had joined the Women's Army Corps, eager to help in any way she could. Her job was in the control tower, handling radio communications. It was a role that suited her love for order and quiet focus, but her voice. Oh, her voice made it hard. Each day started the same. Emily would arrive at dawn, the sun painting the sky in soft pinks and golds. The airfield smelled of fresh-cut grass mixed with the sharp tang of aviation fuel. She'd climb the metal stairs to the tower, her boots echoing softly. Inside, the room was filled with maps, radios, and the low hum of equipment. Her colleagues were mostly mean or rough, loud types who had seen action or dreamed of it. There was Sergeant Mike Harlan, a burly fellow with a mustache like a broom, always barking orders. Then Private Joe Riley, quick with a joke and a wink. And Corporal Ben Thompson, who thought he knew everything about everything. They mocked her from the start. "Hey, whisper," Mike would call, cupping his ear dramatically. "You gonna mumble the planes into the ground today?" The others would chuckle, their laughter bouncing off the glass walls. Emily would smile politely, her cheeks flushing a soft pink, but inside, it hurt. She knew her voice was quiet, but she made up for it with precision. Every message she sent was clear, every coordinate exact. Still, they doubted her. "How's a girl like that gonna handle a real emergency?" Joe once said, not bothering to lower his voice. Ben nodded, adding, "She'd be better off knitting socks for the troops." Emily bore it all with quiet grace. She came from a family of soldiers, so her father had fought in the Great War. Her brothers were overseas now. She wanted to prove herself, not for their sake, but for her own. In the evenings, after her shift, she'd sit by the window in her small cottage, watching the stars emerge one by one. The war news on the radio crackled with tales of heroism, and she'd wonder if she'd ever have a story of her own. As weeks turned to months, the mocking grew routine, like the daily drills. One afternoon, during a training exercise, a pilot's voice boomed over the radio. "Tower, this is Eagle 1, requesting clearance." Emily responded, her words soft but steady. "Eagle 1, cleared for takeoff on runway 2. The pilot hesitated, then snapped, "Say again? Can't hear you over the wind." The tower erupted in snickers. Mike slapped his knee. "See, even the birds can hear her." Emily pressed her lips together, fighting back tears. She adjusted the microphone, repeating herself louder, though it strained her throat. The plane took off safely, but the damage was done. That night, she lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, wondering if she should quit. But quitting wasn't in her nature. Emily's quiet voice hit a steel core, forged from years of being overlooked. She practiced alone, speaking into an old mirror, but it never got much louder. Instead, she honed her skills to learning every code, every protocol, until she could recite them in her sleep. The airfield was her world now, with its endless sky and the distant rumble of engines. She found solace in the rhythm of it all, the planes lifting off like graceful birds, the controllers' voices weaving a web of safety. One crisp autumn morning, the air crisp with the scent of fallen leaves, everything changed. The tower was busier than usual. A convoy of high-ranking officers had arrived for an inspection. The generals from Washington, their uniforms starched and medals gleaming. Rumors buzzed like flies. Something big was happening, a secret mission perhaps. Emily sat at her station, her hands steady on the controls. The mocking had eased a bit that day. Even Mike seemed subdued by the brass's presence. Then, the alert came. A storm was rolling in from the east, dark clouds gathering like an angry mob. Pilots were scrambling to land before it hit. The radio crackled to life. "Tower, "This is Falcon 3, engine trouble, requesting emergency landing." The voice was tense, the plane carrying important cargo or maybe even documents for the generals. Mike grabbed the mic first, but static drowned him out. "Repeat," he shouted, his booming voice echoing. The pilot's response was garbled, panic rising. Joe tried next, but the connection faltered. Ben muttered curses, fumbling with dials. The generals, observing from the corner, shifted uneasily. One, a tall man with silver hair named General Harlan, and no relation to Mike, but the name made Emily pause. He frowned deeply. "Get this under control," he growled. Emily watched, her heart pounding like a drum in her chest. The plane was circling, losing altitude. She knew the protocols backward. She could guide it in, but her voice. Would they hear? Taking a deep breath, she leaned forward. "Falcon 3, she said softly. "This is Tower. Maintain heading 205. Descend to 1,000 feet. Silence." Then, the pilot. "Tower, that you?" Barely heard, but copying. The tower fell quiet. Mike stared, mouth agape. Emily continued, her words measured, each one placed like a stone in a path. "Winds at 10 knots from the north. Runway 1 clear. Emergency crew standing by." The plane responded, following her lead. But as it approached, another issue arose. A second aircraft, a transport plane, was on a collision course, unaware due to the storm's interference. Chaos erupted in the tower. "Warn them," Ben yelled. The generals stepped closer, tension thick as fog. Emily's mind raced. She remembered something from her training, a special protocol for dire situations. It involved a classified call sign, one she'd learned from her father's old letters he'd sent from the front lines, hinting at secret operations. He'd been a radio operator too, with a voice like thunder, but he taught her the codes in quiet evenings by the fire. One call sign in particular was reserved for emergencies, a code that bypassed chains of command, alerting top brass directly. It was Phoenix Rising, a name tied to elite units, known only to a few. She hesitated, her finger hovering over the switch. The mocking voices echoed in her head, whisper, mumble, useless. But the planes were closing and lives hung in the balance. With a calm resolve, she switched to the secure channel. "This is Phoenix Rising," she said, her quiet voice cutting through the static like a knife. "All aircraft, emergency override. Falcon 3, hold pattern. Transport 2, divert to heading 310 immediately." The effect was electric. The pilots complied without question. In the tower, the generals snapped to attention. General Harlan's eyes widened. "Phoenix Rising?" he repeated, his voice a mix of awe and recognition. That's an old code, from the Signal Corps elite." "Who are you?" Emily turned, her face composed. "Emily Carter, sir, daughter of Captain Elias Carter, who created that call sign in the last war." The room went still. Mike's face paled. Joe looked ashamed. Ben averted his eyes. General Harlan stepped forward, saluting her crisply. "Captain Carter was a legend. Saved countless lives with that code. I served under him once." "Ma'am, you've just done the same." The planes landed safely, the storm passing as quickly as it came. As the sun broke through the clouds, casting golden light over the airfield, the generals gathered around Emily. They didn't mock her voice. They listened, hanging on every soft word. "You've got your father's spirit," General Harlan said, his tone respectful. "We need more like you." Word spread like wildfire. By evening, the mocking stopped. Mike approached her awkwardly, hat in hand. "Emily, I'm sorry. I didn't know." She nodded, forgiving with a gentle smile. "It's okay. We all have our strengths." That night, as Emily walked home under a sky full of stars, she felt a warmth in her chest. The war raged on, but in her small corner, she'd found her place. No longer just the quiet girl, she was Phoenix Rising, a name that made even generals stand. Her voice, once a whisper, now carried the weight of legacy. And in the quiet of Willow Creek, she knew peace,